The sun hung low over the African savanna, a molten coin sinking into a haze of dust. Heat shimmered above the cracked asphalt of the Trans-Savannah Highway where life and wilderness met in uneasy balance. A battered transport truck roared down the road, its trailer carrying a sedated lioness from a wildlife reserve to a treatment center. Inside, the animal stirred uneasily as the truck jolted over potholes. Then, in an instant that shattered the peace, a herd of antelope burst from the tall grass. The driver swerved, tires screeching, metal screaming. The truck slammed against a boulder, glass exploded, and the world spun. When the dust settled, the cab lay on its side, steam hissing from the engine. A cage door dangled open. The lioness, blood streaking her tawny fur, crawled out, confused, limping, and terrified. Her golden eyes blinked against the sun's glare as she staggered onto the road, panting. The desert wind whispered through the acacias, while vultures began to circle above. And from a roadside ditch, something massive and silent uncoiled. A python, scales glittering like oil, drawn by the scent of blood. Miles away, at the Eastern Savannah Wildlife Command Post, Ranger Ion Malik leaned over a radio console. Station control to Bravo 1. Possible crash at mile marker 47. Animal transport involved. Ion grabbed his cap and rifle. "Layla, gear up," he shouted. His partner, Layla Mwangi, zipped her tranquilizer case shut. She'd seen poachers, fires, and floods, but each call like this felt personal. Within minutes, their green Land Cruiser kicked up a plume of dust across the horizon. Over the radio came static, then Control's voice. "Vehicle overturned, unknown species loose." Ion's hands tightened on the wheel. "Let's hope it's still breathing," he muttered. Layla scanned the savannah through binoculars as the sun dipped red. Herds scattered in the distance. Even the birds were quiet. "Something's wrong out here," she said softly. "Everything's hiding." The smell of burnt rubber reached them before the wreck came into view, twisted steel against the dying light. They parked 50 meters away. Ion stepped out, the heat pressing against his uniform, flies buzzing around the spilled fuel. "Trucks totaled," he said into his radio. "Driver's gone, probably taken to town already." Layla's flashlight beam swept the grass. "Tracks," she whispered. Large paw prints, erratic, leading from the truck toward the ditch. Then her light caught movement, a ripple in the tall grass, rhythmic, serpentine. Ion raised his binoculars and froze. "Oh, God!" Through the lens, he saw her, a lioness pinned to the earth, struggling weakly as thick coils constricted her ribs. The python's patterned body gleamed bronze under the last sunlight. Each breath from the lioness was a rasp. Each tightening loop of the snake forced the air from her lungs.
Control,
Ion's
this
voice
is
dropped.
Unit 4.
"We got a python attack. Adult female lion in constriction." Control crackled back. "Proceed with extreme caution, Bravo 1. Layla was already kneeling, loading a tranquilizer dart. "We don't have time for caution," she said. The scene felt unreal. The queen of predators helpless under a reptile's power. Ion moved left to distract the snake, while Layla took position behind a fallen road sign. "Steady," he whispered. The python sensed vibration, lifting its wedge-shaped head, tongue flickering. "Now!" hissed Ion. "Whip!" The dart struck deep into the reptile's neck. The python convulsed, thrashing violently, sand erupting in clouds. The lioness roared in pain, her claws tearing at the ground. Layla sprinted forward, firing a second dart. "Hold on, girl, hold on," she breathed. The snake's tail whipped around, striking her leg, knocking her to one knee, but she kept her aim. Another dart flew. The tranquilizer finally took hold. The serpent's movement slowed, its muscles relaxing until the coil slackened. Ion lunged, prying the loops apart with a steel rod, panting with effort. When the lioness was free, she collapsed on her side, chest heaving shallowly. "She's in shock," he said. Layla tore open the medkit, inserting in 4 tubes of fluids. The air smelled of sweat, medicine, and dust. Night settled, violet, and endless, and in that dim light 2 rangers knelt beside a dying lioness, their shadows long against the sleeping serpent. "She's alive," whispered Layla. "Barely, but alive." Headlights bathed the scene in harsh white. Ion called control. We need backup and airlift ASAP. Static answered. The radio signal was weak. They were on their own. Layla worked quickly, cleaning the gashes along the lioness's abdomen. "She's lost too much blood," she murmured. "If we move her now, she'll go into arrest." Ion looked at the python, lying motionless beside them. Its slow respiration made the grass rise and fall. "I'll keep watch," he said, scanning the dark for scavengers. Hyenas laughed faintly on the wind. The desert temperature dropped fast, their breath misting. "Stay with me, Nala," Layla whispered. The name came naturally, soft and steady. The lioness blinked, eyes glassy. Hours crawled by. They stitched, disinfected, monitored pulse. The rhythmic beep of the portable monitor became a lifeline. Somewhere past midnight, the radio flared back to life. Rescue chopper en route. ETA 30 minutes. Relief flooded them, but exhaustion anchored their limbs. The savannah smelled of antiseptic and rain. Rotor blades thundered overhead just before dawn, stirring up clouds of dust and grass. The Medivac helicopter descended like an angel out of the crimson sky. 2 more Rangers jumped down with stretchers and sedation gear. "Status?" shouted the flight medic. "Stable for now." Layla answered over the roar. They wrapped Nala in canvas restraints, secured her oxygen mask, and carried her carefully toward the chopper. The python, still sedated, was to be relocated later, its massive body glistening like a forgotten river. As they lifted off, the savannah stretched infinite beneath them. Golden plains, winding roads, the small wrecked truck now a dot. From above, Ion looked down and exhaled deeply. "We almost lost her," he said. Layla nodded, eyes wet with exhaustion. "We didn't." The helicopter's interior hummed with life, machines beeping, wind screaming through open doors, the lioness's chest rising slow but steady. Hours passed before the lead vet stepped out, smiling faintly. "She'll make it," he said. Relief washed over them like rain. Outside, cameras from local news crews flashed. The story of the python rescue was already spreading. But the Rangers stayed quiet, watching as Nala slept under gentle sedation. Her breathing was deep now, peaceful. "You know," Layla said softly, "she wasn't careless, just unlucky." Ion looked at her. "Maybe both, but she's still the queen." They stood in silence, listening to the monitor's steady rhythm, the sound of survival. 3 weeks later, dawn broke pale and silver over the reserve. The gates opened, and a transport crate rested on the truck bed, this time sturdy, secure. Nala, healed and strong, paced within, tail flicking. Her fur shone in the new light. Ion opened the latch slowly. For a heartbeat, she hesitated, scanning the open savannah. Then, with a bound, she leapt into freedom. The grass bent under her weight, dew scattering like diamonds. The Rangers watched in silence as she trotted toward the horizon, her figure shrinking to a golden speck. "Goodbye, Nala," Layla murmured. The radio crackled with distant chatter. Another call, another rescue waiting. Ion smiled faintly, starting the engine. "Let's go save the next one." Behind them, the wind carried a low, rolling roar, a sound of strength returned. Somewhere out there, under the endless African sky, the lioness lived again, and the brave hearts who had fought for her carried on. Weeks passed since the terrifying roadside encounter, and the mother lion had regained her strength. Her golden coat shone in the sunlight, her muscles rippling with power as she stretched and roamed the large enclosure where the rescue team had carefully monitored her recovery. The cubs, once timid and frightened, now played energetically nearby, their small roars echoing across the compound. The rescuers smiled, knowing their tireless care had given this family a second chance at life. The day of release arrived, and the team prepared a quiet corner of the jungle near the edge of the reserve. The mother lion sniffed the air, her senses alert, and her cubs huddled close, sensing the significance of the moment. The rescuers spoke softly, encouraging her, while one by one, they checked the perimeter to ensure the family would have a safe path into the wild. The tension was palpable, yet there was also hope, the hope that nature would welcome them back as they had once known it. With a powerful bound, the lioness led her cubs into the dense foliage. For a moment, She paused, looking back at the humans who had become her unexpected allies, her eyes filled with a silent acknowledgement. Then, with a graceful stride, she disappeared into the jungle, the cubs following her closely, their tiny paw prints disappearing into the undergrowth. The rescuers remained still, hearts full, watching the family vanish into freedom, knowing their efforts had restored not just life, but dignity and independence to these wild creatures. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the trees, a sense of serenity settled over the reserve. Birds sang, the wind rustled through the leaves, and the distant roars of other wildlife blended into a natural symphony. The mother lion and her cubs were once again part of this rhythm, free to hunt, explore, and thrive. For the rescue team, it was a moment of triumph, a reminder that compassion and courage could bridge the gap between humans and the wild, leaving behind stories of hope, survival, and the enduring power of care. The following days, the rescue team returned to the jungle at a distance to observe from afar. Through binoculars, they watched as the mother lion led her cubs along hidden trails, teaching them to move silently and to spot signs of prey. Every careful step, every subtle gesture, reflected her instinct and wisdom. The cubs, playful yet attentive, mirrored her movements, learning the skills they would need to survive in the wild without human help. One evening, as the golden light of sunset spilled across the canopy, the team spotted the mother lion pausing near a waterhole. She lowered her head to drink while the cubs frolicked nearby, their laughter-like growls blending with the calls of distant birds. The sight was a quiet triumph. The family had adapted to their natural surroundings, their bond stronger than ever, and the jungle had accepted them back as rightful residents. Weeks turned into months, and the team occasionally caught glimpses of the lion family thriving, hunting with precision, resting in the shade, and protecting each other from potential dangers. Each sighting reinforced the importance of their mission, proving that patience, courage, and care could change the fate of even the most vulnerable creatures. In the end, the mother lion and her cubs were no longer victims of a careless accident. They were survivors, symbols of resilience, and living proof of the profound impact humans could have when guided by compassion.